So Sarah's been pregnant for a while, a long time, like since Thanksgiving. And we were in a spot where it was like, we just found out Thanksgiving's like the next day or something. And we're like, is this real? Like,
yeah, it takes
what is happening?
It takes a little bit to wrap your own brain around it.
So it was like, okay, well, Thanksgiving and then Christmas. Okay, let's just wait till Christmas. Well, we don't realize how long Thanksgiving is away from Christmas when you're trying to keep a secret like this. So it was ridiculous. I'm over here, we're doing the podcast. Josh is talking about going back, everything kind of goes back to having kids and everything, and I'm just living here like, no, yes, Josh, the children, the women and the children, too.
I'd love to have one.
It felt weird. I felt like I was lying to you, Josh, and I'm sorry.
You were in a way. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So now the news has been out for a minute.
I'm guessing most people
they probably do
already know at this point, but I'm sure there are some that only watch this show.
That's true, maybe. And so so me and Sarah went on to a country, not the safest country in the world, Josh. It's the Dominican Republic. And we visited there. Okay. But we had to get ahead on podcast.
Oh, I see. Yes.
And so it was.
That's why it's been so long. We haven't.
Yeah, because then Sarah was having all these crazy. They weren't normal pregnancies. So there's actually a name for this, and it's actually dangerous, where you have to go get injected with.
It's called pregnancy. Pregnancy is dangerous.
It's dangerous, Josh. It's a dangerous thing. But some people literally have to go to the hospital and actually have fluids injected in them, and because they can't eat and drink.
Yeah.
And that was getting like that. So we're stressed out, and so it's like I don't like that. The last thing on my mind is how am I going to tell people? I was like, I just want to make sure Sarah's not going to die.
Yeah.
So then once that kind of started to get a lot better, because we figured out a little tweaks, Josh. We found out some tweaks and secrets. So that's fixed for the most part. I don't want to detract from what Sarah's going through.
As long as Sarah is able to go to Cracker Barrel.
She did go to Cracker Barrel.
Mom texted me the other day and said that Sarah went to Cracker Barrel with us, and I was so relieved. I was like, I've never been so happy to hear someone went to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, I wasn't either, Josh. So normally I have a different reaction to somebody going to Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
But anyways, so Sarah's doing better now. So then it was like, okay, well, let's tell people. So then Sarah wanted to tell people on Instagram. So I was like, knock yourself out. Do whatever you want to do. So that's what she did. The video got like 1 million views. Everybody is like, oh, I forgot about these people. Wow, we're like getting thousands of followers. I completely forgot you existed. Thanks. So they're back. So hopefully you're here. Now I'm telling you the story.
Now people will finally watch the podcast.
Yeah. And so then we went on vacation. And then we had to get ahead in videos, and it was like, oh, we can't. But I didn't tell people before, and now we're ahead. So now Sarah's pregnant.
There you go.
That was a long-winded story, Josh. God help us.
How are you feeling, Dad?
Oh, great.
Yeah,
I feel great. I'm, the tears.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
No, not really. But it is weird to think, Josh. It is quite a perspective shift. When you just envision holding this being.
Yes.
And it's weird. It's weird to think about, and it's very inspiring.
Yes.
And I think, how can people have... is there any other response than inspiration in a moment like this?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I was thinking, wow, how weird. Like, you have a child. The child then gets interested in something.
Yeah.
That, not that I can be interested in a lot of different things, but it's something that maybe I've never thought of before. And then it's like, I get into something because a child that was born was into it, and now it's like a huge part of my life doing it with them because they just happen to like it. And all these thoughts kind of start going through your mind. Like,
do you remember a few weeks ago on the podcast, I think it was on the podcast, but I was telling you about, it's weird when your kid gets to an age where they start giving you information that you didn't know.
Oh yeah, because you said Elliot knew something that happened, and that about Isaac or something that he came and told you, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what happened upstairs.
Yeah,
like you have an extra set of eyes.
Yeah, it's like I birthed you, and now you are telling me things.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So these are all the existential things that have been going on that we're in deep thoughts, and I'm like, all I want to do is talk about this. I'm like, let's talk. Josh, I don't have one today. I don't have one. So I have been at a loss with it's just so many new thoughts and stuff. So
Does it feel real yet?
it's starting to feel real now that Sarah's actually showing.
Yes.
And she's feeling the baby.
Yes.
It feels a lot more real. We've heard the heartbeat.
That's a big day.
That was pretty cool.
I think that hearing the heartbeat, seeing an ultrasound,
Yeah.
and then when you feel the baby kick the first time, and then when you talk to the baby and the baby kicks your hand, like,
oh, that's weird.
You can tell that the baby's responding to your voice. That's when it really starts, and that's when it's like that initial overwhelming kind of scared feeling you feel that comes back a little bit, and you're like, wait, hold on, okay, there's that. This is really, really happening.
Yeah.
Oh, it's happening in a few weeks now, because once the baby is kicking in there, it's not too much longer.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like Sarah's feeling the baby and everything, and I've like just sitting there, just waiting.
Yeah.
My hand on, like, just close my eyes, please kick my hand. Please, and it never happens to me.
Yeah.
And then I get up. I'm like, you know what? Forget it. The baby doesn't want to kick my hand. So I go and I make some food for Sarah. And then she's like, as soon as I get up, she's like, oh, it kicked again. I'm like, God.
Yep, that's how it goes.
Let me sit back down.
That's
trying
how
to
it
do
goes.
nothing.
I don't want to talk to that man.
Yeah, who is this guy? No, but I then one time she felt the kick.
Yeah.
And I had my hand there, and I was like, I didn't feel anything, and she was like, well, it's probably confusing because it's like I'm feeling it internally, but
right?
Like I can't tell where I'm feeling it.
The baby. That's the trippy thing. It's like oh yeah, I always Kelly be like with Shiloh. I asked her a lot about this because once you've got like 3 kids, then you're just like, all right, let's talk about all the nuances of this thing. I never really, there was too much going on. Now I'm really thinking about the nitty gritty here. So like you actually feel a baby inside of you? Yeah, it's just in there. I can feel it moving around.
So
you
weird.
just have a thing inside your body just moving around constantly. You could feel it. Man, it's crazy.
That is a weird thought. That is what started to make it feel real to Sarah. Is she can start to feel the baby. And also I was saying, this should be left for deep thoughts, but we'll just say it now because why not? You know, a lot of what's going to be really weird is that I told Sarah this. I was like, this is what's strange is I am doing a lot of things that are brand new to anything that we've ever done.
Yeah.
Raising chickens, having, building these things, doing these different things like this. That it's weird to think that I will not be able to relate to the baby or as the child grows up to interacting with these things at such a young age. Like, okay, we're out with the chickens, then the child is interacting with the chickens.
Oh, I
they didn't. Yeah, like as a kid, like chickens was like a weird thing. You see a chicken, but this is just going to be always with them.
You've created a little world on your property that is going to be an experience you didn't have growing up.
Yeah, so it's weird to think that I won't be able to relate to their perception of a lot of things at that age. So it's like a guessing game of like, you see chickens mating all the time. You see all these things and you just kind of understand at a younger age, like things. And it's anytime I met anybody in college who they grew up like that, there was a different thing about them that you kind of admired, and it was like this veil that you couldn't, that was over you that they didn't. So
I know exactly what you're saying.
It's going to be it's going to be interesting because I won't be able to put I won't be able to envision what they're envisioning because I don't remember, because I didn't have that experience as a kid. That's kind of been a main thing that I have been thinking about. Is which I'm not scared of at all, but I'm just like, it's just an interesting thought.
There'll be a lot of times now that Isaac is getting older. There are a lot of times where I can tell he's sitting there thinking about something, and because he's like so much like me, I'm like, I know exactly what he's thinking about right now. So I'll go talk to him and ask him about it. He's like, yeah, that's what I'm sitting here thinking about. And so even if he's into things that are different than what you are into, or he has a different experience, obviously, or she, I guess, could be a girl, could be a boy.
Yeah.
I I think I've defaulted to her before, and now I'm saying he for sure. I don't know why that is. But yeah, no matter what kinds of things the baby is into, you'll relate to them because it's your child.
Yeah, it's like they're
in their thought process. It's like maybe like not the things they're doing or are into, but the thought process of why they're doing the things.
Yeah,
they're
that's
doing.
true.
That's what's really trippy, and you're like, man, it's so weird that like you are my kid. You would not would not be here if it wasn't for me, and that's just such a strange thing.
Well, another thing I was thinking that was weird. Not to have this section go on for too long.
Oh,
but
it's fine. People love this. They
love this.
They want to hear about this.
Okay, look. So I was.
I like this podcast. I never gave it a shot before.
Oh yeah. Well, I was thinking. I've gotten into some weird stuff.
You have
a little witchy, Josh. How do I explain it?
A little witchy.
No, I'm just kidding. But it's like the new people watching this are like, what the heck?
These are inside jokes. You know that person on Instagram,
on TikTok,
or TikTok, in their bio it says "Lil Witchy." We always make fun of those people. Anyways,
so I was thinking, I get into these weird independent things, like for instance, cycling. It's weird, like nobody does this. So I was thinking, wow. Not that I'm gonna. I don't care whatever the child is interested in. It doesn't matter to me. But if they are in, if they see me, because I ride bikes a lot. If they see me riding my bike and they're like, oh, I want to do this at a young age, and then imagine that they actually, not that this would happen, but imagine if they actually got interested and they wanted to start racing and all this stuff, which would be just difficult, Josh. It's a very dangerous thing to do. Sport. Now I understand with mom and dad. Like, what is he doing?
I told mom and dad the other day that you had said that to me, and they laughed so hard.
Did you?
And dad says, "You're just one phone call away from your whole life changing."
That's hilarious. I'm glad you told me that. That's funny. Yeah. So I always tell Sarah this. I'm like, I really kind of hope that they don't like want to do this.
Mom and dad are watching this right now.
But if they do, I'll do it with them. Let's just like dad, he would go out and ride with me. Like at the start, we would do that together. Now I'm looking back, it's probably like dad's like, all right, what is the safety of this, and how is Jordan capable of not dying out here? Right. And so once I kind of proved myself, I think there was a little bit of the worry kind of, but you never know what kind of, do you have an athletic child? Do you not? What's the difference here? You kind of making these calls, but I was thinking, well, that'd be so weird if, because I randomly got interested in that and nobody else was interested in that. I just randomly on my own got interested in that and started to, do that in college and raced and blah, blah, was a big part of my life. Then all of a sudden this being that you have created then gets interested in the same thing and like then goes on to do what you did, maybe even better than you did, like that. But if I hadn't have gotten into that, then their whole life wouldn't have anything to do with that at all. They wouldn't get into it at such a young age. And that's been kind of a weird, another deep thought that I've been wanting to say on the show.
There you go.
But it always goes back to like just doing things that you didn't grow up doing. Yeah. That you realize all these little random decisions that you had 20 years ago. You didn't realize like, wow, when I have a child, they're going to want to do the same thing. Yeah. Maybe. Or they'll at least be exposed to it or interested in it. But it was just like a little floating thought that I just grabbed onto and just made it a big part of my life. No, it's weird.
It's interesting hearing you talk about that because I remember feeling my mind shifting from like being a son to being a dad. Yeah. And so then you start, so it was really funny hearing you share about the cycling thing and realizing, oh, now I see mom and dad. I've done that so many times now over the past 5 years where I'm like, oh, now I see, now I know why mom and dad said that. You know what I mean? Now I know why they had this reaction to that thing. Because it's just, your mind just shifts now from being a son to being a parent.
Yeah.
And
that's
so,
a good point.
Any movie you watch with sons and fathers, you can rewatch. It's like a completely different movie.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And you'll just have 1,000 little experiences like that. And it's going to be really fun. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited.
Very, very emotional at Christmas when you told us that was the best Christmas surprise of all time.
Well, we opened the presents like kind of late, and so I'm like sitting there the entire Christmas, just like.
gotta make it the
And
rest of
Sarah's
the
not
day.
feeling good, so she's
Right.
like, seems like she's dying on the couch, and it was like, people are gonna think she's just in a bad mood. We're just.
If you
sitting
guys
here
just
trying-
wait a little bit,
Guys,
I
it's
promise
worth it. Trust
she's
me.
not. She's fine.
We're actually really great.
These are amazing, but I'm stressed out. She's sick, but it's fine. All right, so when in general should people expect this baby?
Just like late summer.
Late summer, okay?
I'm not giving a month because
No.
if I give a month,
Nobody
then
wants that.
everyone the
know,
day
I
one
know, I know,
is she
I know.
pregnant? Well, obviously she's pregnant. Josh.
Late
Is
summer.
she having the baby?
Late summer, early fall, mid to late
Maybe
fall,
winter.
next summer, next to next summer. All right. Well,
That was the top story.
this is a baby. Excuse me. This is a baby themed episode. We're gonna talk more about babies as we go. We got a good message about babies. I actually prophesied that Jordan was gonna get pregnant. I didn't realize it. We're gonna talk about that later on in the show.
I didn't get pregnant. What are you talking about?
Huh?
I'm not pregnant.
You know what I mean when
Well,
I say
Josh,
that. All
just-
right. I
you
prophesied
gotta-
Sarah was gonna get pregnant.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
The world's an interesting place.
It is these days.